Thanks for tuning in to Kinetic Physical Therapy's YouTube channel. I'm Matt Schultnick, Executive Clinic Director with Kinetic, and with me is Gabe Kresge, our Clinic Director in Westchester. So we're all under the same stay-at-home orders and likely itching to get outside. With May 1st right around the corner, that opportunity is going to be there with much nicer weather.
So if you guys have been stuck inside, don't have access to your local gym or to equipment at home, we put together a few videos for you to use that are going to primarily get some of your muscles moving, create some mobility through your spine, and engage some of those core muscles as well.
Enjoy. So the first exercise we're going to do is a general spinal mobility exercise. And it's important that we keep the spine moving and we keep it mobile. In physical therapy, we like to say motion is lotion. So this one's called an open book, and it's done as follows. You're going to lay. You can lay on the floor. You can lay on the edge of your bed, whatever you're laying on. We're going to get our bottom leg straight. We're going to get our top leg, the foot hooked behind the knee. Okay. I'm going to use my bottom arm, in this case my right arm, to stabilize my top leg. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to start by acting as if I was reaching towards the floor. I'm going to rotate back nice and slowly. Use my top hand to sort of pull across my chest. Pause for a couple seconds. Come back. Couple key things to think about as you're doing this. Make sure we're using this, in this case my right hand, to stabilize my knee. We don't want to see this. My leg comes off the table, I've kind of lost the stretch. So I really want to emphasize to get that good thoracic motion. Thoracic spine, lumbar spine, I really want to hold that leg down as I try to get my top shoulder down towards the surface I'm laying on. And we're going to repeat this 20 times. This direction. And then I'll quickly show you setting up the opposite side. Again, bottom leg straight. Hook the top leg in. Stabilize that leg. Pull across. Stop. 20 times, both sides. Our next exercise is another general spine mobility exercise, but this time we're focusing on our thoracic spine or our mid-back, and we call this seated thoracic extension. So we want a chair that's got a higher back. Ideally, the back of the chair is going to line up with your mid-back, somewhere along your shoulder blades. We want to make sure we're sitting all the way back. We want a nice 90-90 position with our hips and knees. Okay. If you're comfortable, we're going to interlock our fingers behind our head. Okay. Again, sitting up nice and tall. Take a nice deep breath in, and then we're going to exhale as we lean back. Get a good stretch through your back. You might also feel a stretch in the front. Hold for a couple seconds, come back up. Nice deep breath in. Exhale as we lean back. A couple things to think about with this. Let's not overextend our neck. That's not the goal of this. The goal is to really get the motion through our mid-back or thoracic spine. Another thing to think about is if this position gives you pain, maybe in your shoulders, you can also repeat this exercise or duplicate this exercise by just putting your hands across your chest. Deep breath. Exhale as I lean back. And we're going to repeat this 20 times. Our final spinal mobility exercise is called a wall slide. And again, this one's targeting sort of that mid-back thoracic spine area. Okay, all we need is a wall. We're going to place our arms. We're going to try to make a right angle to start. Okay, hands, thumbs pointing away, nice and relaxed. You want to get yourself probably about a foot or so away from the wall. You don't want to be right up on top of the wall, but you also don't want to start too far away. So maybe about a foot away, and you'll see why, because all we're going to do is keep in a nice neutral posture. I'm going to slide my hands up the wall, bring my nose towards the wall, feel that stretch through my thoracic spine, and then come back down to that starting position. So again, slide up the wall, get into that position where you feel that thoracic spine extension. A couple things to think about with this one. We don't want to arch the low back. That's not the goal of this. The goal of this is to kind of keep your neck and your low back neutral and let that extension come from the thoracic spine. You might feel a stretch into your lats as well. That's not a bad thing. And we're going to repeat this 20 times.
Our next exercise is called a no money. This is for improving that upper extremity thoracic posture, trying to help improve the position of your shoulder blades. Oftentimes, especially when we're sitting down for long periods, these shoulder blades start to migrate forward. We want to try and improve the position of the shoulder blade to take a little bit of stress off of your shoulders. So, what we're going to do is you can use a wall to help kind of tell you where your shoulders are. Putting your back against the wall with your shoulder blades against the wall. You're going to keep your elbows tucked at your side, and with your elbows in this position, you're going to open up your arms as if you're trying to get your thumbs to touch the wall. You don't need any band for this to start. You can do it for 5-second holds, back and forth like this. Thinking about pinching a pencil between your shoulder blades and keeping those shoulder blades against the wall. If this is too easy, to make this a little harder, and if you have access to any type of elastic band, same position, band between your hands, you're going to pull that band apart, again with emphasis on keeping your shoulder blades back against the wall and with your elbows at your side. Same thing, 5-second holds, and you can repeat this up to 20 or 30 times. This exercise is called a farmer's carry. The purpose of this exercise is to, again, improve that shoulder posture, but we're also working on that core stability. What you need for this is some type of weight. If you have access to dumbbells, you can use a dumbbell. Here I have a 15-pound dumbbell. If you don't have access to weight, you can always use something like a shopping bag. Fill it full of things that will give it a little bit of weight and use that for this exercise. So, we're going to do this on each hand for each side. Again, you want to make sure your shoulder blade is tucked down and back in a good position. You want to make sure your body is straight and lined up with this midline. You don't want it pulling you this way, and conversely, you don't want it to be pulling the weight too far this way. Keep everything lined up. With everything lined up straight, what you're going to do is you're going to take nice controlled steps, keeping everything tight and lined up. Back and forth like this through your home. After doing a few sets, maybe walking 20 feet, you're going to switch arms, same thing, shoulder blade locked back, body aligned, and we're going to take slow and controlled steps, keeping everything straight.
This next exercise is going to focus on lower extremity strengthening, but also have a core component, and it's called a bridge. Most people are familiar with bridges. There's many variations of bridges. We're going to do the most basic one. We're going to do it on the floor or on a bed if you have a firm mattress. We're just going to lay back. We want to keep our knees bent. Nice comfortable position. I always say I like to kind of just cross my arms here. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can put your arms straight at the sides. What we want to make sure we do with this is we want to make sure we kind of engage our core by just nice deep breath in, and then we're just going to lift. We want to really focus on pushing through our heels. You might notice I'm kind of lifting the front of my feet up. This ensures that I'm pushing through my heels and really engaging what we like to call the posterior chain, the hamstrings and the glute muscles. I like to hold this for anywhere from a 3 to 5 count at the top. Slowly come back down. We want to make sure we're breathing with this exercise. We do not want to hold our breath at the top. So we're just going to repeat this 3 sets of 15 repetitions. Continuing with lower extremity strengthening, this next exercise is a very functional one. It's a simple sit to stand, but we're going to focus on trying to do this without using our upper extremities for support. So we want a standard chair. We want to scooch ourselves to the edge of the chair. We want our feet about shoulder width apart. We always want to keep that nice 90-90 relationship, okay? And if you can, without using your hands, I like to kind of just tuck my hands right in front of me here. I'm going to think about bringing my nose over my toes, and I'm going to push up from there. And then same thing, I'm going to come back down. Okay? Again, nose over toes, use a little momentum, come all the way up, back. If that is difficult for you, you can use maybe a single arm to help push yourself up, or if that's too difficult, you can use both arms to push. But over time, we want to be able to do this exercise without using our arms. The next phase of that, if you want to take it up, is to not come to a complete stop sitting. We're going to come down, just tap our butt on the chair, perform sort of a chair squat that way. But to start, we're going to do 3 sets of 10 sit to stands without using our upper extremities. Continuing our lower extremity strengthening exercises, we're going to do what we call a lateral step squat using a counter or table surface. So what we want to do here is we want to use the table, the kitchen table, or maybe the island counter in our house for a little extra support. And all we're going to do is we're going to take a side step and then almost simultaneously go into a little partial squat, come up, side step, little partial squat, come up. Use as much or as little support with your upper extremities as necessary. If you can do this just with one hand, that's great. If you can do it with no hands, that's great. But always have that counter there, just in case you had a little loss of balance or your legs just aren't strong enough yet to do this. And depending on the length of your counter or table, I would say you want to kind of go 5 steps to the right, 5 steps to the left. Repeat that at least 4 times.
This exercise is called a bent over row. To do this, you're going to need some type of weight, either a dumbbell or again, maybe a grocery bag filled with objects. What you're going to do is you're going to have your one arm balancing on a counter or chair of some type. Having that weight at your side, what you're going to do is keep your back straight, and you want to pull that weight up and back towards your hip. What we're trying to do is keep your upper body stable, and we're trying to avoid a lot of rotation and pulling like that. We also don't want this to turn into a bicep curl here. We're trying to engage this bigger lat muscle as we're doing this. So again, arm on the counter, back straight, pulling this weight straight up towards your hip. I would recommend doing this for 3 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions depending on your weight. This exercise is a rotator cuff strengthening exercise, and it's a type of exercise that we refer to as an isometric. What that means is we're turning on some of these rotator cuff muscles without going through a range of motion. So, in this example here, you can use a band. If you don't have a band, you can use something like a belt. What you're going to do is keep your elbows tucked at your side, holding that band or having tension on your belt. You're going to pull until you have tension, like so. Now, when it's an isometric like this, we're trying to hold this for time. You can start with maybe 5-second holds, work your way up to 10-second holds, even up to 30-second holds. And what you're going to do is maintain that shoulder position for the entire length of time. Start out with 10 repetitions of this, and as it gets easier, increase that hold time. It's important to remember to keep your shoulder blades squeezed back when you have tension on that band. This exercise is called a plank. You can perform this on a counter at home to start off to make it a little bit easier. What you want to do is you want to have your hands on something firm and secure, such as the counter. And what you're going to do is you're going to be trying to step backward, keeping your body straight as if it's a plank. Now, this is an abdominal or core strengthening exercise, so we're going to try and hold this position for time. What we don't want to do is we don't want to be back with your butt up in the air. We also don't want to be sinking in. You can see the arch in my back here as I'm sinking in. We're trying to keep everything straight and locked in. This position, you're going to start out by holding again for time. You can start out with 10-second holds if 10 is easy. You can go to 20, 30-second holds up to a minute at a time, depending on how easy this exercise is for you. Another way to progress this exercise is to do this from a slightly lower surface, so you'll be closer to the ground. Again though, we're trying to maintain that straight posture throughout the entire duration of the exercise.
And there you have it. So those are some very simple but effective exercises to get you guys moving and get you ready to get back outside and enjoy the beautiful weather. If you have any questions about the videos that you saw, please don't hesitate to contact Gabe or myself. You can see our emails below, Matt S. at kineticptpa.com, Gabe K. at kineticptpa.com.
We'll see you soon.